to ask for your consent and you just refused it. So. Did I just break the law? I don't know. Anyway, carry on.
Okay, we're ready. Hello, this is the Amplify update number 7. And I'm not sure if it's number 7. And I managed to get it deployed. So thank you very much for making the Bacalao license open source, because I literally just copied the deploy scripts into my repo and did a big find and replace for Amplify instead of Bacalao. And it just about worked. There was a few extra bits in there that I had to remove, but got it working in the end. So this is now deployed on a single VM in production, just sitting next to all of the Bacalao nodes. I feel like well, anyway, that was the simplest thing to do, especially considering we had the scripts to do it. So I just did that. So now I'm just sort of going through the process of sort of finalizing a v0.0.0 build and trying to make everything work. I got it working. It's now up and running. This is the API. So we can also do a curl on that. Let's just clear, just in case I've got my banking information there. Curl and put a header in there. There we go. Oh dear. Oh, interesting. That's not working. Okay, there you go. That's what happens. Is it content type? Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure. Let's try another API. Maybe it's just URL. Oh, there we go. It must be just something with that, something to do with that home URL. Because yeah, obviously each sort of API is like implemented independently, so I've probably just missed something on the home one. But yeah, so this is the actual API of Amplify, and so this is what a UI would eventually interact with. We've got some dummy jobs kind of listed and ready to go. We've got a metadata extraction job and merge job, and then we can look at the graph of those here. This is obviously just a temporary dummy thing. The graph is going to be much bigger and much more complex eventually, running with lots of interesting jobs. But we can go to the queue and have a look. These are some of the jobs that I did before. I can just fire let's just fire a load off again. I'm just submitting a load of job requests to the queue. So what this is basically, the API is I'm just passing in a CID, and for every CID that's passed in, it then flows through the graph that we have in Amplify. There's a couple of queues involved. There's a queue for individual requests, and then there's also a queue for individual jobs as well. And each job is represented by one of these nodes in the graph. And this and a job is basically a Bacalao execution. So I can sort of finally control, like I can rate limit basically the number of jobs that are being submitted at any one time. So I'll make sure we stick to that for now, so we don't break anything. And this shows the full output. It's got the original input that I requested, the final output of the merged result. We have a node on the end that merges things back together. And yeah, we've got all the information from the Bacalao job. We've got the status, we've got the standard out, we've got the input CIDs and the output CIDs for that individual node, and so on and so forth. There you go, demo over.
Really cool. What is that demo actually doing, that demo job?
It's just running that dummy workflow that I have set up. It's just a metadata extraction is pulling out the MIME type of the blob that's passed in. I think that was an image. And then it's passing to a couple of subsequent jobs. One is just like an LS job. It's just listing the inputs, and then it sort of merges it back together again. We're going to start working more actively on some proper jobs soon. But yeah, I've been concentrating on the core stuff for now.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Forrest, you've got your hand up. I was going to ask you to go next as well, but
so I just have a question. Is each DAG in the node a single job on Bacalhau, or is the entire thing one job?
No, each node is a Bacalhau job. So eventually the graph is going to be quite big, and every single one of those is its own independent container with its own code running its own job in Bacalhau.
Another question, if I may.
Sure.
Do you run each DAG job in serial, or are they ran in parallel, or does it depend on the structure of the DAG?
Yeah,
it
just depends on
the
graph. So if the graph forks, then they'll run in parallel. If one depends on the other, then it'll run in series. So so that was one of the major changes I made last week. Actually, previously we had the ability to specify the workflows in like a linear graph, and in a linear fashion, just in series. But after lots of sort of side issues were all caused by the fact that we couldn't specify a proper graph. So now I've rewritten it so we can specify a full-on proper DAG, and the DAG is run fully independently. So if you sort of fan out, then it runs it in parallel. If you don't, then it runs it in series. Proper dependency tree.
Do I have time for one more question, or will this meeting run over?
Yeah, sure. We can just do fast through everyone's updates.
Okay, then I'll just go with my update then. I'll ask the question out of band.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm.
Sorry, carry on, Forrest.
No worries. I'm working on OctoStore, which is a store to track the lineage of jobs that run on Bacalhau. Working on a document right now for that. I hope to have it to a shareable point tomorrow or Friday. I've been looking at the requesters job store and the compute nodes job store. I'm suspecting that an OctoStore would be some combination of what is in those two stores. I don't have a lot much else to share on that. I've mainly been exploring the code this week. But to dig into this, I wrote a change that allows us to serialize all the types in Bacalhau to CBOR and get the CID of a job if we want to do that. I'll talk more about that in the document that comes out tomorrow or Friday.
Nice. Awesome. Good stuff. Thank you very much. Ross, could you go next, please?
Yeah, so today I have been trying to I'm going to do that thing again. My headphones mute me, or at least okay, that should be it now. Normally only two. So I'm trying to duplicate the way that Docker does logging for WASM, because our WASM thing isn't using Docker or any sort of separate service. I've spent most of today drowning in Go routines and then ripping them out in anger. I've actually made a bit of progress. Turns out I don't need as many Go routines as I thought. So yeah, it's going well. I'm just doing all the hard bit first, and then the easy bit later. So I have no idea how long it's going to take me yet. Could be tomorrow, it could be next month.
Nice. Sounds good. Awesome. Cool. Walid, could you go next, please?
Yeah. Yesterday, I got to release the new version that has the retries, shard deprecation. I think other changes that we should be informing Irina about. Otherwise, she will come hunting us one by one. So if anybody knows anything in this release, please shoot a summary to Irina about that change, especially publicly facing changes, customer facing changes. The other thing is now we have a third canary. So before we had production canary, staging canary. The other customer-facing feature is actually the node selection that favors nodes. So before we had the node selectors that filters out nodes, so to only orchestrate jobs to those nodes only. Now we have another one that is favoring the nodes, so it's the same node selector, but the prefix is favor _ name equal Bacalhau as an example. It means it will favor Bacalhau nodes. If it didn't find any, if those failed, it can fall back to other nodes. So with that feature, we have a third canary that is targeting non-Bacalhau owned nodes, so the public network, by using favor owner doesn't equal Bacalhau. That is,
Litigation.
yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see how stable that canary is. It will trigger alarms if anything is unstable. Hopefully, the retries would work just in time. Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't able to put much time today, or I don't know how things will look like for me tomorrow, so I may not be able to make much progress for the rest of the week. We'll see about that, but at least my priority would be to disambiguate the tasks that are remaining to stabilize the APIs and start picking a few of them.
Nice. Sounds good. Thank you, Walid. Favor, you're next on my screen. Could you go next, please?
Okay. So far, it's code preparation, sending out tweets, kind of clean up the docs, and we have like some issues opened up. For example, trying to create an integration section in the docs for Airflow, and also trying to CLI move sharding, and also we have like a new output, the way the jobs output has changed, so try to like make that change in the docs as well. So yeah.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, and I think it's if you're not already, it's worth coordinating with Walid on the changes that he made recently, because I think they will probably have quite a lot of docs impact, because I think you
because sharding is in the CLI, we need to remove like the sharding flags, and also we have like a separate doc for sharding, so I don't think we might be needing that anymore.
Yeah,
as
just
well.
throw it away.
Yeah, so I don't think we might needing that anymore. So anyway, we have sharding information, we'll try to like remove that info. So yeah, and also try to change the job outputs. It's no longer the way it was before. It's different. So I think Walid mentioned that. So I'm just going to check the change that was made and see how we could affect the changes in the doc.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for keeping up with the changes to the product. I really appreciate it. Great.
One question I had, like, what will replace sharding?
I think, well, Walid has an answer to that, I think. What will replace sharding?
Yeah, so the idea is that sharding as part of the protocol itself is adding a lot of complexity. So a user can submit multiple jobs for each different subsets of their input. That is kind of the idea of what would replace sharding. The longer term would be is to make that easier for the user, meaning to add more CLI tooling or helpful methods to allow the user to submit multiple jobs rather than submitting a single job that gets ported to multiple shards.
So like, I think we could also do it with like the Airflow orchestrator or like the DAG tool we have. So what will be the difference between it and what you're proposing?
No, you're right. I mean, if you are going to use DAGs, then definitely those will help you out. DAGs, the idea is for DAGs is that they will submit different jobs for each shard, which aligns with the model that is, if you have a lot of large data set, rather than submitting a single job with multiple shards, just submit multiple jobs and track the progress of each one of them separately. If any failure happens, retry. DAGs will do exactly the same.
Yeah, so in what you're proposing, so like if a single node goes down, the whole job will like fail.
Today, if one shard fails, or not today, before, if one shard fails, then you would be in a funny situation that your job is considered to have failed.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, now submitting multiple jobs eventually could have partial success, and if you want to retry, you would try only certain jobs. DAG implementations, each one of them will be different. So just a reminder that when we say DAG, it's not a single job. We don't submit DAG as a job. DAG orchestrates multiple jobs for each node, and the shard will be a node.
Yep. Cool.
Okay, thank you.
That's great. Let's push on so we get through everyone, and then we can have questions at the end. So Levi, hi. I have a question. Do you pronounce your name Levi or Levi?
Levi, please.
Oh, cool. Okay, I was right. I've been having that discussion with Kai the other day.
No, it's a very, very common thing. I usually ask Levi or Levi are acceptable. Please don't call me Levi or Levi. That's my dividing line.
Perfect. How's it going?
Is it Hebrew?
So, what was that, Vedant?
Is it pronounced in Hebrew or English?
Hebrew. So the modern Hebrew pronunciation is Levi, and then
Levi, okay.
Yeah, the Yiddish pronunciation that I grew up with was Levi, and so.
Levi.
Nice.
But yeah, so basically, due to the kind of like slow nature of how things are moving on our end on the game theory, and basically I'm just reading papers here and there, updating the doc, and then basically I have we and Luke and I, we have to talk about this because we haven't met like in a while, a really long time.
Yeah.
So basically we will likely have a partnership with Block Science, which is one of the most, it's basically like one of the oldest and biggest simulation, crypto economic entities in the space. Bunch of extremely smart people. And so basically the idea is, again, like core focus right now is pricing models and anti-cheating mechanisms. How do we price compute jobs? And also how do we make sure that those compute jobs are being computed properly? And so after doing a bunch of research, I basically came to the conclusion that like the best thing we can do is simulate this environment and find the parameters through, various computational means. And so basically what I'm doing right now, just for background, I'm doing all the theory research so that we can have a thorough, all-encompassing vision of like what a Bacalhau environment would look like. And then with Block Science, ideally we'll create a digital twin of Bacalhau, modeling the economics and solving those two main problems at the core, but there's like a lot more as you move up.
Awesome. That's really exciting. I look forward to our one-to-one tomorrow or whenever it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Thank you. Nice. Owain, could you go next, please?
Sure. So today I've been continuing to develop the dashboard, which is coming along. I've spent a lot of the day wrestling with Looker Studio and trying to get it to extract data from JSON strings with limited success so far, but I'll keep trying to find a way around that. But it might be I need to go back to the database itself and see if I can do something in there to pull out the data. Yeah, that's
Cool.
me.
Sounds good and sounds reasonable. I don't know if it helps, but if you're writing SQL, then I think there is a way to spell queries over JSON data in Postgres using a SQL, an extension to the SQL syntax.
Okay, yeah, I've been trying some SQL queries, but they all seem to fail so far.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll keep doing.
Ross nodded slightly, so I'm going to volunteer Ross to talk to you about that. Don't mind.
Go ahead.
Cool.
Yeah, just to clarify, so even though our Postgres, the content of one of the columns is JSON, the schema is not categorizing it or classifying it as JSON. So to query those, just cast it to JSON and then follow up with JSON queries. That worked for me.
Okay.
Handy. Nice. Cool. Thanks, Owen. Arena, you're last on my list. Could you go next, please?
Hello. We're working on improving documentation, improving graphics. Favor's doing an amazing job there, and Jenny is doing an amazing job with a diagram. So she might contact some of you to explain some of the things to her regarding to the graphics, the diagrams. Also organizing still organizing like 2 conferences, and now in Barcelona for the WASM conference tomorrow with David and Simon. So yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Very good. Cool. I'll go last. I've spent most of the day doing planning for various roadmap activities. So that's my job now. Cool. So we've got 4 minutes left. Does anyone have anything else they want to talk about?
I just
Cool.
posted the link that shows SQL queries that cast the data to JSON and then follow up with JSON. That are
Nice.
used for sharding deprecation.
Cool. That might be useful for you, Owain.
Excellent. Thanks.
Brilliant. Cool. That was nice. It was lovely to see everyone. Levy, nice to have you on one of these calls. If anyone who joined doesn't have calendar invites for these things, just ping me and I'll add you. Yeah, awesome. Have a lovely day / evening, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Bye.